Welcome to Panel Days Reviews Superheroes Ahoy. So, I plan to review some of the books. I've been mostly writing comic book reviews and blogs over the years, and now I've started this channel where I'll be reviewing. I've been uh, going back through Indian comics. There's been a big resurgence, both in the classical players and new comic imprints from publishers like Bullseye Press, from Swayambhu, and I've really been enjoying both of these dark comic books and the new ones as well. So now that I've received the complete issues of some of these books, let me try and review some of the books. So this is Zaalim Manjha 1 and this is Zaalim Manjha 2. Okay, so let me start with Zaalim Manjha. So Zaalim Manjha is quite a dark book. I mean, as the title and the cover suggest. So it is essentially about paranormal investigations. It's about an occultist. So in volume one, which is called Cell Number 9, the book here, this is about a story of there is a lady that gets a job. She looks like she's not getting a job anywhere else, and she finds a job in something of an asylum. So she takes a job. She thinks it will not be much. There is an old caretaker who looks like Stanley. There is a lot of dark humor. I mean, through there are patients in the asylum. They have different levels of seriousness and how bad are their cases, and there is a certain humor around it. And this lady who gets hired, uh, she I think it was okay. Okay, yeah, so she gets assigned here, and then the caretaker talks her through like the different wards and the different rooms, and there you see a shining reference here. And then she is basically warned that do what you're told and don't really delve into more than what we are here for. And then he specifically tells her not to go into cell number 9. So yeah, this pretty much follows the tropes of a horror movie, of a horror B grade movie, something from the 80s Indian films and also 70s Western films. So yeah, that's where he says never ever dare to go into cell number 9, and this is how it is. And there's again there is another help lady who basically appears very creepy, as is everything else in this place. So she offers her to have her chicken soup and things like that, and this lady has had the our main character has had enough. So then she basically has some encounters with some paranormal creatures, and she gets creeped out a lot. So then she is served Martha's infamous chicken soup, and then there are weird things that happen here. And then, so this is where the comic goes fully gruesome, gory, and dark. You have monsters popping out of each and every place, and then a lot of stuff happens. And then she basically encounters the main character, who is Michael Manjha or Zaalim Manjha. So that's where we see what is happening, and I don't want to reveal the complete story, so I'll quickly run towards the end. But it's very interesting in terms of how you see a giant action sequence. So volume 1, I thought it really conveyed, I mean, it's just not dark for the sake of dark. It is grotesque. It has very good art that really complements the writing. So it does not look like the art and the writing is separate. They all are blended together well. You get, if you love monsters, if you love B grade horror, you're going to love this. And this has some very funny comedy tracks that are going on in terms of references to Bollywood, and it's mostly like spoofing Bollywood, which is fine by me. And then what I really loved about it was there was not much talks, right? So it was it was like one giant action sequence. And another interesting part was the lead character of Zaalim Manjha gets introduced pretty late towards this half of the story, and that was, I think, a pretty nice way to introduce a character. And it leaves you in suspense, and it leaves you pretty much of a cliffhanger. There is a twist in the story as well, and you are left asking for more. So you don't really get to know how this character came into being. So that was very interesting. It keeps you wrapped up for issue two, and this was about issue one. And issue two is called Zaalim Manjha, the Red Lantern House, and this it's a really satisfying book. I was wanting to read it from some time, and it's really interesting because not only it takes the story forward, it gives you a very satisfying origin story of this lead character. So again, I mean, just to give you a little bit about the book, this is set in a crack house in Kolkata. There is a character introduced called Madam Lau, and she reports that there is murders happening in the brothel, and she basically gets in Michael to investigate into that. When he resists, she keeps him hostage very kindly, and then there is a lot of humor that happens with him and the different characters. So there's a lot of investigative stuff happening here. There's a lot of detective stuff happening here. He meets different characters, uh, the and then through the course of the book, there's a lot of action sequences, and there is a lot of paranormal monster stuff. And this is where the book concludes. And there's a very pretty poster here of the upcoming book Raj Rahman, which is again kind of a homage to 80s horror and social issue movies together. So yeah, this is the Zaalim Manjha 2. So in summary, I really enjoyed this reading experience of Zaalim Manjha 1 and 2 because you really go all out. There is no nothing spared in terms of, and there's so many different concepts explored, but then it's not like very cluttered. It's really woven and well. The story flows, especially I felt, personally, I felt issue 2 was very satisfying because it really understands where the story, sometimes even in films or in books, you storytelling, there comes a time where you feel everything is moving very effortlessly forward. So this is what I felt was happening with this issue 2. uh, Things are happening, demons are summoned, and there are reveals, and there is revenge that is happening, there's action sequence, but then everything is flowing so well, and it's nothing is forced. Even the humor is just there at the right place. When it becomes too dark, there comes a funny dialogue, and the lead character itself is of Michael Manjha, of Zaalim Manjha, is really well crafted. He's not a unidimensional character, a typical male action star, but he is very flawed, and he is self-deprecatory, and it's pretty nice. So I really enjoyed Zaalim Manjha 1 and 2. Now to get to the other books, I would be reviewing them. I read Aadhira Mohi issue 1 and 2 a couple of months back, and I actually was not aware there's an issue 3, and this came way back in 2020. So I need to read this. So I will be reviewing Aadhira Mohi 1, 2, and 3. I pretty much loved 1 and 2 when I read them earlier on. Another book series from Bullseye is Yagyaa. So Yagyaa is quite a well arced story. So this is again a very really fun series of books. I would love to trade a paperback of all these three books. And this is again about, as the name says, like a Buffy kind of character, the demon goddess Yagyaa. There's so much happening in the book. In fact, I have written a blog about it when I read it, I think way back in March. So you can go and read that. There I talk about what I loved about these books, what art I loved, and how the panels flowed. And this was also very satisfying, these three books. I read them all in one go. And what I love about these Bullseye books are they're really willing to go out there. I mean, in Indian comic books, as you know, they are they follow a certain pattern. Obviously, that pattern worked for few decades, but there is a need to go out there, and even when you go into the dark dimension, so to say, you really need to keep it very relatable, like urban stories, something that does not feel out of place. Just don't insert mythology just for the sake of it. So that is what I really loved about these books. They're very grounded. They have an urban connection, they have an India connection, and whether sometimes you might feel that its scene might be out of a monster movie from the West, but then there are things that happening that connect it back to the Indian realm and Indian setting. So this was Yagyaa 1, 2, and 3, and this was Inferno. This was a standalone book which I think will connect something in terms of the Bullseye universe. So I'm really excited about these Bullseye books, and they as a great publishing quality. And I also got this funny. This reminded me of the uh, the asides that you used to get in comic books, where there was a lot of in jokes and industry humor and things like that. So yeah, this is pretty much about my first review from Panel Days. So I have tried to give an essence of the Bullseye books, and highly recommend these books if you love dark comic books, if you love graphic novels. I really don't know what's the difference. But yeah, they just provide a very satisfying reading experience, and certainly you should look forward to more of books from this publishing house. So thank you for watching. This was Panel Day Superheroes Ahoy.